So I've just finished my first week of delivering online learning due to the school closures, and I thought I'd make this wee video to share some top 10 tips with you that I've discovered this week. Tip number 1 is going to be set aside some times during the day where you're going to engage with children and families. It's likely that you're going to have some work to do from your school as well, and I don't know about you, but for my first week I spent quite a lot of time just constantly replying to emails, comments from pupils and families. So with that in mind, I would say the first week that you use online learning, some people are waiting till after Easter holidays, I've heard, is for the first week, try and plan a little less schoolwork. Hopefully your head teacher will allow you to do that, but it'll just give you more time to do some troubleshooting and help families and children who have a lot of questions. Then once you get up with your online learning, I would say maybe set aside a time in the day where you're going to post tasks and then engage with pupils and families, and then maybe set a second time later in the day which you can use for giving feedback and things like that. Because due to the nature of the tasks, and different families might be doing things at different times, you'll find yourself in a constant feedback loop, checking Google Classroom or whatever online thing you use every 5 minutes, and that's not really good for productivity. So what I would say is set aside 1, maybe 2 different times during the day where you're going to set some tasks and offer feedback, and in that way it'll keep you sane. On the other side of the coin, try not to bombard parents with emails and information. It's about finding that balance between being helpful and supportive and being annoying. And I know, well, personally speaking, I think I've sent out too much information this week. I really need to take into account for, some families have 2, maybe more children, and they're all getting emails from their teachers who might be at high school and music tutors, things like that. So I've actually learned a lesson from this week that I'm only going to email parents once on a Monday and maybe at the end of the week on a Friday, and I won't engage with them unless they send me an email asking me for specific questions. And that was some really good feedback that I got from parents and carers this week. Tip 3 might seem obvious, but it's something that really stuck out to me this week, and it's for parents who won't have English as their first language. I have quite a lot in my class, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. And even if the children have really good English, don't always assume that the parents do. So I actually just reached out to all the parents that I knew had English as a second language, and I just said, what would you prefer? And they were really, the people that I spoke to were really grateful that I just took the time to do that. And again, it might sound obvious, but it might be something that when you're so busy, preparing all these things that you don't think about. And all it took for me was to get my original email and copy and paste it into Google Translate. But I thought some people were really grateful for that, so it's worth considering. So tip number 4 is to get the children to come up with a timetable with the help from their families. This was the first task that I set on Monday morning on Google Classroom, and I provided an example timetable that I came up with, and I provided them with a blank Google Doc, which I'll include in the description of this video. So feel free to use that yourselves. But it's not feasible to expect families to recreate the 6-hour school day. It's just not going to work. But I think encouraging children to say, right, so I'm going to set this task each week, and I'll talk about that a bit later, and then say, right, here's what we're going to be doing, fit that into something that works for you, and I'll include my example as well. But I think it's really important to have that structure and routine, and it might take families a few weeks to figure that out, but that's something that I'm going to continue to do every Monday during the school closures. Okay, another thing that I got really useful feedback of the families is doing live lessons doesn't really work for most families. I tried to use Google Meet and Zoom, which I'm hearing quite mixed reviews about Zoom, so approach that one with caution. But I've been using Google Meet mostly to read class story, and I've had anywhere between 4 and 8 children join in. But for most families, we have different timetables, If you say, okay, I'm going to post this link at 12 o'clock, so let's say you're going to do a maths lesson or a literacy lesson, it doesn't really work for most families. Might be different for your class, but just in my experience, that's something that I've learned. I think what would probably be a better option is to use something like YouTube to upload a video and then people can watch it in their own time. Or I'm actually using Screencastify, which is a really good Chrome extension, and right now they're offering free subscription due to the COVID-19 virus. So again, I'll include a link to that in the description of this video. But I thought the idea of doing live lessons is pretty cool, and it is for some, but I only had less than half of my class, sometimes even a quarter of my class, engaging with that, so I don't think it works for most families. So it's better to pre-record things and then upload them later so people can watch them in their own time. Okay, so in terms of what the timetable would look like and what you would expect families to be getting through, I've actually been setting one literacy, one maths or numeracy, and then one other curriculum area. It might be topic or PE or expressive art, something like that. And I had also decided that I was going to do some extra times tables work or reading, spelling, and it might just be because it's the first week and people are still finding their feet, but I felt like most families weren't getting through all of that. You do want to probably give people more than they're going to need, but at the same time try not to pressure families and make them think that they need to get through this. One useful feature, or one important thing to think about, is if you use Google Classroom, not putting the due date to a certain day, or maybe just not putting a due date at all, because I think then it comes up and the children's at the side of their app saying this is overdue, this is overdue. Some people can get quite stressed out with that, so try and avoid that. Looking forward to next week with tip 6 in mind. I'm actually going to be, I teach P4 this year, so it will differ from the age for each age and stage depending on what you teach. But what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to do one writing lesson, which should span over 2 days. I'm going to do 2 smaller reading lessons. I'm going to do 3 number lessons and 2 maths tasks, which again is just it's revising some things we've already covered in class. On top of that, I'm going to have a topic thing that will a topic series of lessons, should I say, that will last over 3 days worth of work, plus this usual spelling work we'd normally do, the usual personal reading work we'd normally do, and I'm also going to include 1 PE lesson that I come up with. But we're really lucky in our school. Our visiting specialists also have their own Google Classrooms, and they've actually been posting new things every day, so the children can also build that into their own timetable. Tip 7 is a quick one, and it's where possible provide answer keys, because of the nature of the week's learning where families will be doing it at different times. It's not like in school when you collect in the finished piece of work at the end and you control when you mark it. Some families might choose to do it late at night, and this week I've felt myself checking Google Classroom every 15 minutes to see who's done the task. So where possible, give answer keys and then people can see how they got on themselves. Of course feedback is important, but if you're a teacher, I would set yourself a certain time to do feedback, and then if the family's not done it by that point in the day, then providing answer keys should help where possible. Tip 8 is actually take videos of yourself. I hate doing it. I'm doing one right now, but I really feel awkward on the camera. But you get used to it, and the feedback that I've had from parents and carers is that the children, they like to see your face and they like to hear your voice. You might not believe it, but they do. And it's just a nice personal touch, instead of, especially if you've got a younger class, giving them loads of written instructions isn't really a good thing to do. So just get over that initial weirdness of taking videos of yourself, and it's going to help you a lot in the next few weeks. Earlier I talked about trying to find the balance between bombarding people with too much work and not giving them enough work, because you don't really want parents to be sourcing worksheets and things themselves. So what I would also do is just have a big bank of, you know, extra things to do, like wee fun challenges. See a lot of them going about social media, and maybe providing a big list of online learning resources like Hit the Button, you know, things like Mathletics. I'm sure you've done that already, but obviously it's kind of common sense to, you would rather have more work than not enough. Final tip is tip 10. Sorry, this video was a wee bit longer than I initially planned, so thanks if you're still listening. But tip 10 is just relax and roll with it. I've learnt a lot this week, and it's been my first week delivering online learning. Teachers, you know, we're experts at educating children, but we're not really experts at what this current situation is asking us to do. Every family's got their own challenge, every teacher's got their own challenge. They might have their own families to look after, and they're expected to work at the same time. You know, the most important thing that I've heard a lot of people saying online, and I just like to reiterate that, is look after yourselves, look after your families, and look after each other. I'd just like to thank you for watching this video. I'm no expert at making videos, you can probably tell that, but I hope some of these tips help, and I'd like to hear what your ideas are for supporting online learning at home. If you could give me a wee comment below, I'd really appreciate it. Take care.